Go ahead.
Pressure 3, airborne and
flag. Key among the aircraft escaping to Iran is the Soviet-built Mig-29 Fulcrum. The Mig-29 is a highly maneuverable and advanced interceptor, which has all the capability to give the Allied air superiority fighters a tough time. The MiG has made numerous appearances in Western air shows, and its abilities are well documented by Western observers. However, the most important part of any weapon system is the pilot, and here the Allies remained pretty confident. The Iraqis also operate Soviet aircraft such as the Su-24 Fencer, a ground attack aircraft similar to the Western F-111, the MiG-23 Flogger, Su-25 Frogfoot, MiG-21 Fishbed, and a host of other aircraft including the IL-76 transport. One version of this aircraft serves as a warning and control airplane, similar to the Boeing AWACS. But there's a quantum leap in technology over the Soviet design, and the Iraqis seem to have a tough time doing for themselves what the Boeing airplane provides for the Allies.
012, friendly traffic off your right wing.
The AWACS and its huge radome are able to scan hundreds of square miles of airspace, searching for any signs of aerial activity and controlling intercepts. When Allied fighters go air-to-air against the Iraqis, the result is swift and certain.
My wingmen were manning the cap east of Baghdad, and the AWACS controller called him and told him that he had some hits, unknown bogeys, north of Baghdad, eastbound. My number 3 and number 4 man snapped in that direction, got their radar on them, did an excellent job of running the intercept and caught them. They appeared to be running for Iran, and got them just short of the Iranian border and had the engagement there, and they went 4-0.
And so an F-15 pilot, call sign Vegas, and another, call sign Gigs, come back with what every fighter pilot dreams of, not just a kill, but a double shoot-down for both pilots. It's a victory that all participate in, and everyone from the ground crew to the flight commander all feel a sense of accomplishment.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Wayne. Hi, Wayne. Got a couple for you today. War's not over yet.
It seems that the maintenance guys are always ready for something like this. Just the right colors of paint and the right stencils seem to magically appear, and the airplanes are adorned with markings that will be carried on canopy rails for years to come. Meanwhile, the story is told and retold. How did it happen? What did you do?
Just the most spectacular thing I've ever seen, I'll tell you that. It's good to know that the missiles are going to come off the rails when you really need them, and the guys we have in maintenance just do an outstanding job on the jets, and it was a good feeling.
This scene is repeated dozens of times in the first weeks of the war, but it's no turkey shoot. Most of the Iraqi aircraft either choose not to fight, head to Iran, or are damaged on the ground.
Yep, for the camp, man, you got 2 more coming back to you.
Television audiences spend hours watching the exploits of the fighter and strike pilots. What they do not see is all that goes on to help make that effort possible.
He's got a pair coming in on the right. Good shot there. There's an empty hose.
The lifeblood of an air campaign is fuel. Lots of it, when and where the fighters need it. And the tankers are there to make sure that happens. These are Marine KC-130s refueling FA-18s high over the Persian Gulf. The Marine tankers serve not only their own, but also the Navy, the British, the Saudis, and the Canadians in their CF-18s. But the primary refueling work is done by another old trooper. The venerable KC-135 tanker has been around since the 50s. There is nothing on the drawing board to replace it, so all are being upgraded with new engines and strengthened airframes. This, however, is one of the older models still using the Pratt & Whitney J57 engines with water injection. It makes for a long, slow takeoff. Once airborne, the crew settles down to the task of finding and refueling the strike group. Tankers will fly in tracks, literally an oval or triangular-shaped circle in the sky. The positioning must be precise to enable the strike group to keep its time on target. Despite the opportunities for problems, all goes pretty smoothly most of the time.
We'll know where they are, and we'll be able to, we'll know what altitude they're on, they'll know what altitude we're on, and we have an air-to-air TAC-in, which enables us to tell us how far of separation we are, and getting together usually isn't very much of a problem at all.
With thousands of sorties every day, you can imagine the traffic that lines up to top off the tanks. Soon the first F-16 appears, loaded with bombs and fuel tanks. It is not as agile as normal. Also, the reduced speed makes the whole process ticklish. The boom operator must literally fly the refueling probe down to the waiting jet. As soon as one swoops away, another climbs into place. This will go on for hours, and not all the refuelings are planned.
There's a person up there who's in charge of all the refuelings. He'll tell us, he'll know what fighters are out, where he has his tankers located, and he'll have us stay in a certain area in orbit, waiting for receiver in case he needs us. Since we have the fuel available, we don't really have to rush back to the base. We'll just stay up there until we get to the point where we have to return home.
At last, the many customers managed to exhaust even the huge tanks of the KC-135. And now it's time to break off and head back to base.
Gears coming down.
It is a routine process, but it can never be taken for granted. The mission is to refuel the fighters, but mistakes can be made at any time, even a landing that has been done hundreds of times. The time to let up is when the wheels are in the chocks and the day is done. But there is no let-up for those on the receiving end. By the end of the third week, more than 57,000 sorties have been flown. 25 airplanes have been shot down, 18 of them American. And as another flight plunges through the searing heat waves and leaps off the runway, everyone knows the bombing is having a huge impact. But how much of an impact? And most important, will it prove to be decisive? At this point, the answer is still in the future. The desert. Here, it is like nowhere else on Earth. Vast, trackless, intimidating. Out here, huge M1 tanks kick up rooster tails of dust as they race across the expanse. Part of more than 400,000 troops the multinational forces have arrayed along a line facing Kuwait and Iraq. Across this seemingly endless wasteland are thousands of tanks, armored personnel carriers, and of course, troops. And somewhere out there, across the horizon, the Iraqis' T-72 tanks maneuver, part of an army of well over 500,000 troops, 4,000 tanks, 3,000 armored personnel carriers, and nearly as much artillery, the fourth largest army in the world. It is now mid-February, and the air war has boiled down to a simple and frightening equation. The more of the Iraqi army our airplanes can destroy, the fewer Allied troops will die in a ground battle. After more than a month, the Allies have flown more than 85,000 sorties and dropped countless thousands of tons of bombs. Now, airplanes like the A-10 Warthog are in the spotlight more and more, because the A-10s are designed to do just one thing: support ground troops. The A-10s carry everything but the kitchen sink as far as ordnance is concerned. The Maverick missile can seek out enemy tanks even if the vehicle is buried underground. There are cluster bombs, regular bombs, Sidewinder missiles, and self-protection jammers and flares, all destined for use over the front lines. As you can see, they leave with a bit of bravado on behalf of the crew chiefs as well as the pilots. Once airborne, the Warthogs reach the target quite quickly. Allied air superiority is such that refueling tankers are literally flying right over the border with Iraq. The A-10s will top off their tanks and dive almost directly to targets along the edge of the battlefield. With support like this, the A-10s will fly up to 3 times a day. But despite undisputed control of the skies, there is a price to be paid. Here is an A-10 that comes home after having half its wing blown off. But importantly, it did come home. Some pilots didn't like the Warthog very much at first. However, its toughness wins fans among pilots and ground crew alike.
I heard it was pretty hairy. He landed with only one hydraulic system, and when he landed, he had one flat tire. And other than that, you know, he came to a rather abrupt halt, got out of the airplane and kissed the airplane, and was just happy to be back.
By any measure, the A-10 proves to be a crucial factor in an environment where targets are so numerous, and the impact appears to be so telling.
I could be up there for 20 lifetimes. There's so much stuff up there, it's incredible. This guy's got, he's got an incredible army. But we're doing what we can.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification icon for the latest videos as they are released. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.
Too low, terrain, too low, gear, too low, flat, terrain, pull up, sink rate, pull up.
Decision height, approaching decision height, approaching minimums.